Welcome to Rock Solid Productions, where in this video we are going to discuss 5 things we thought rocked and 5 things that need to be improved about Star Trek Lower Decks, Episode 2, Season 1, Envoys. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Gary here with Rock Solid Productions. If this is your first time to the channel, just want to take a real quick second and say thank you for stopping by and checking out what we have going on here today and what we are discussing. I really do appreciate it. If you like what you see here, I invite you to check out some of our other videos on the channel, including our recap in a very similar format to the very first episode of Lower Decks, which you can check out by clicking on that little icon right up there. And if you really like what you see here, do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification. That way each and every time we do upload new content, you are kept the most up to date. And what I want to know from you here today before we get started, the USS Enterprise. We have ones with and without a bloody A, B, C, D, and E. There's even an NX-01 Enterprise. I want to know what is your favorite version of the USS Enterprise, including the NX-01 and the JJ version, which, yeah, not so much. Not so much. So, Episode 2 of Star Trek Lower Decks Envoys is on deck here. And for those not familiar with what rocks and what could be improved, we basically go through and watch each episode and pick out 5 things we thought we really liked and 5 things we thought really needed to be improved. The reason? Not everything is terrible, not everything is great. We're trying to provide some balance here. Now, diving into this week's episode, within the first 40 seconds we get a callback to, in my opinion, one of the worst episodes of Star Trek of all time. And I am talking about the Season 2, Episode 1, first episode, The Child. It's a Deanna Troi-centric episode where it basically walks her through getting pregnant and having a child through some being that just happened to be passing the ship. Well, they bring this back, and it's a dumb trope. It's not well done. It's played for laughs in a way I didn't think was funny. They basically trap the life force in a container and extort it to produce a new tricorder, and he doesn't initially produce the power cell, so he has to do that separately. And each time he creates one of these devices, the ball shrinks down in size because it uses more and more power. Now, for me, what I really thought needed to be improved about this is after you have Mariner leave with her new shiny toy, it's never discussed again. Now, the entity does appear to fly into the captain, so maybe they're setting something up for a future episode, but at least initially, this is one of those things, like the setup and no delivery whatsoever. It never goes anywhere and has zero to do with the rest of the episode.
I really gotta think of something cool to say when we're going to warp. Something like, it's warp time. What do you think of that?
Now, one thing, and this doesn't count towards this week's, 5 things we like, 5 things we think should be improved. But one of the things that I noticed is I do like the aesthetics of the credits. I like the way the ship looks and everything. Although looking at the ship, the Cerritos, a little bit more, like the fact that Bussard collectors now stick further out. I didn't notice that last week when I watched the first episode. It does look a little bit out of proportion on the ship, but when you have the ship flying by and it strikes, the ice asteroid or whatever it is, it does so with the left, or would that be port or starboard, one of the warp nacelles, and it loses power and lurches to the one side. They weren't at warp, they were at impulse. So there would be no reason whatsoever for the Cerritos to lurch to one direction on like a permanent basis, like a loss of power or propulsion. Under impulse, the warp engines would not be providing any output whatsoever, so it should not have changed their direction. I know, it's one of those things, they're playing it for laughs. It's just dumb. It's dumb. And another thing, that I think this does count as something that should be improved that I thought was dumb, was you have Boimler, and I called him Bumbler last week. I know it was a play on words, but you have him coming into the cargo area and basically being proud of the fact that he has an escort mission. And you have Mariner dumping all over it. I don't understand why they are constantly trying to undermine the characters that actually want to do well and fit in this series. And not just this series, but in this generation of Star Trek, from Discovery to Picard and now Lower Decks. Sorry about that Freudian slip there. Boimler is excited that he gets to go ahead and escort a high-ranking member of the Klingon Empire. He wants to do well in doing this, and he is mocked and made fun of and being told that his aspirations don't count, they don't matter. He should have better dreams. Why? Why is it one of those things that fitting in and doing well at your position is so frowned upon?
Your idea of a reward is an escort run? Oh, you have the bar set way too low. What's punishment? Something actually fun? What is wrong with you?
It's just one of those things that didn't play well with me, but one thing that did play well with me in our first like for this week's episode is the fact that you have Rutherford coming up through the Jeffries tubes and taking pride in his work. He has been in the Jeffries tubes a long time and aligning a lot of different components, and he took pride. You see him hold his hands up. My blisters have blisters, he says. He took pride in a job well done. And I think that's one of those things I wish that we saw more of in the current generation of Star Trek. We don't at all. It's one of those things, if you do well at your job, well, yeah, that doesn't matter. Are you insubordinate? Are you taking risks? Are you doing stupid things? Oh, that's the good things we need to do with this series. And I really thought that it was a refreshing change of pace here to have Rutherford taking pride in his work, and you could see it. He's an animated character, but he was beaming because of it, not transporting, but beaming, and I really did like it.
Oh, I'm not done. Now I get to recalibrate everything. That's another 3-4 days in the tube.
Shortly after that, we get Boimler heading to his shuttle where he is going to take and transport the Klingon to where he's got to go. And we get my next thing that needs to be improved, and we saw this in the trailer. The Blast Shield song.
Ooh, this is the new shuttle with the blast shield!
Yeah!
The blast shield is the blast shield. And it comes down and it goes up. Blast shield!
The Blast Shield song is stupid. It is so dumb. I wonder how you have Mariner being able to make it through Starfleet Academy and onto, at this point, the way that we're being told, is multiple ships, being such an ass clown. I'm sorry. And the way those blast shields work, why would it only go over the windscreen or the transparent aluminum and not over the entire ship? Wouldn't the entire ship technically need blast shields to keep from getting blasted? It was just one of those where I know they're playing it for laughs. I know. But it wasn't funny. It wasn't. It was, again, just one of those of, I'm going to be a jackass character for the sake of being a jackass character. And it didn't work for me. Now we're back to Rutherford, and with this B story, it is a really interesting character. It's actually the most character development that we have gotten in the series to date. I acknowledge only 2 episodes in, but it was good character development. He wants to be with Tindy, so when there's this astronomical phenomenon, so that she is not alone, and he's trying to change his career, literally, for someone that he's only known a couple of weeks on the ship. He's trying to be a good shipmate. And he goes and he tells his supervisor in engineering that he is looking to change his career. And I know it's played dramatically that, the supervisor, his supervising officer, the CO, whatever you want to call him, is angry. You can see it kind of ramp up and almost like a vein popping in his head. But you see everyone in engineering wish him luck, congratulate him. Let him know that he does a great job, and wherever he winds up is going to be lucky to have him.
Granted! Oh man, this is exciting. I'm sure wherever you end up, they'll be lucky to have you.
Aw, thanks, guys.
We don't have enough of that in society right now, let alone in Star Trek. And it's one of those things I really did appreciate. A lot of times when you are at a job and you are doing well at your job and you are in a subordinate position, managers don't want you to take a different position because it may make their jobs harder. A lot of times you may have supervisors that will sabotage those who are trying to move up. But not here. You actually had his CO, let him know, I've got your back. You are a terrific engineer, and wherever you go, I know you're going to be successful. And I really did appreciate the fact that they did this. It was a surprise.
I'm gonna miss you.
After this, we are back to the shuttle, and it is time for us to meet General Karn, and he looks like a Klingon warrior. Thank you, we don't have Klingorks in Star Trek Lower Standards, Star Trek Lower Decks. He looks like a Klingon. He acts like a Klingon. He has Klingon battle armor on. This all looks right. Again, it speaks to the fact that those producing this have got the aesthetics nailed down. They know what they're doing with the look and the feel of it. They may be missing the boat for classic fans like myself as far as the story goes, but as far as delivering something that feels in universe, they've nailed it yet again here. But why does he have an eye patch that looks like General Chang's from Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country? Never explained. Is it one of those things? I mean, Martok lost an eye, and you just see the eye kind of fleshed over, or the socket fleshed over, that is. Was it meant to be a callback to Star Trek VI? If so, I mean, mission accomplished. But it's also one of those things that no, be unique, be original. Why? I didn't care for that part of it at all.
Okay, all right, just holding your sword then.
When they finally get to the planet with General Karn, this next bit, I mean, I could see from 13 parsecs away. 12? Okay, 12 parsecs away. Yes, I am mixing Star Wars humor into my Star Trek. Deal with it. The fact that the shuttle got stolen, I mean, who didn't see this coming? It's one of those where if you have a very predictable story, it's not enjoyable. You know what? Challenge me a little bit. Be creative a little bit. Don't go down the cheap and easy route. Again, it was one of those, since I saw it coming from so far away, I didn't find it funny, I didn't find it enjoyable, and I knew that it would leave Mariner and Boimler struggling to get a shuttle and get off of the planet. And I know hijinks were supposed to ensue. They were dumb. They were all dumb. Every single hijink that they had was dumb.
Hey, back off, Blue!
No, don't hit him. We have a treaty.
At least one thing that was not dumb was, again, Rutherford, as he's trying different positions out on the ship, again, to try to help Tindy so he can be there and be a part of what she wants to do. But at the same time, he's trying to see what is he good at. You get to see him take command trials and realize, yeah, he ain't no good at command. But at least he tried it. You get to see him try to be a medic. He ain't a good medic. But at least he tried it. The best one, I thought, was where he tried to become a security officer and had to face Borg drones on the holodeck. And this is one of those things where his cybernetic implant actually was an improvement versus in the first episode where we saw it was a hindrance where it could be hacked. He was a badass fighting Borg drones, and even the security chief acknowledged that. We heard him say, thanks be to the prophets, or whatever it was that he said as a Bajoran, just acknowledging the fact that this is normally a program that he runs to wash people out of the security program. And Rutherford, he nailed it perfectly.
In the name of the prophets, I put people into that simulation so they can learn how to deal with defeat. Ensign, you are a natural-born warrior.
But when he went and he was introduced to the rest of the security team, Rutherford realized, as he saw someone coming out of a Jeffries tube, he can do the job. He's capable of doing the job, but his passion, he's an engineer at heart. So I love the fact that he did go ahead and went on this trial and tried different things and found out he knew who he was to begin with, and he knew what he was good at to begin with. And I really thought that was a great way to kind of make him a better, well-rounded character, and also kind of demonstrate he's really, highly competent at what he does. A lot better than we've seen out of Boimler to this point. Speaking of which, the last thing that I liked about this episode, our fifth thing, we're already through to our fifth thing, is once they are back on the Cerritos, he gets the best of Mariner in front of the crew and everyone in their equivalent of 10 Ford. He rubs it in her face that she's this arrogant such and such that knows it all, but couldn't identify a Ferengi and got caught off guard. Now we do find out, and this will be my last thing that needs to be improved, we do find out it was all a ploy, but at the same time, it was good to see Mariner get her comeuppance from Boimler first and foremost, because she has rubbed his face in all sorts of dog crap.
So the Ferengi's right there, and I'm like, Mariner, we can't trust this guy. He's a Ferengi. And then she says, get this, she says, oh no, that's a Bolian.
He gets the best of her here. He's none the wiser that it was a setup, although we, the audience, are, and that's my last thing that needs to be improved. The fact that his success didn't matter. It was all fake. It was all a setup. It was disappointing to see that you couldn't have a character such as Boimler just be good. Just get one up on someone who has dogged him for 2 full episodes now and tried to make his life a living hell, has mocked everything that he stands for. She still wins. I found that really distasteful.
Ah, Mariner, was I convincing enough for you? Human!
You were perfect, Quimp. Thanks for helping out.
It does give us a look that she may have redeeming qualities and a heart of gold, and she does care for his well-being and does want to see him be confident and succeed. But from an audience, from a writing standpoint, it just undermined all that character development because we now know it didn't matter. It's like going into the holodeck with the safety protocols turned on. You don't take it, if you don't know risk, you don't know reward. At least these are my opinions of 5 things that I thought rocked and 5 things that need to be improved about Star Trek Lower Decks. And I know that I joke calling it lower standards, but I will tell you after 2 episodes, I am not digging this show at all. I have no problem with series such as this that build upon a saga, that build upon canon, that, there's throwbacks and callbacks to previous entries into the series. I keep hearing that you got to go back and watch Rick and Morty to really appreciate Star Trek Lower Decks. No, it's not in universe, it's not the same series, has nothing to do with this series. Why should I have to go watch something from the same creators in a completely different universe to appreciate and enjoy what we have here? I haven't enjoyed either of these 2 episodes. I like the look. I like Rutherford a lot. He's a good character. I'm very wary that they are going to go ahead and, much like Boimler, they're going to set him up for fail, and I really hope they don't do that. But thus far, 2 episodes in, the second episode for me was worse than the first, and I didn't like the first one at all. But these are just my opinions. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Have you signed up for CBS All Access? Have you watched these first 2 episodes? And if so, what do you think? Am I all wet here? Am I too old to... I just thought of a Star Trek joke here. Have I become too old to, and outlived my usefulness? Is this what you would call a joke?
Is it possible that we two, you and I, have grown so old that we have outlived our usefulness? Would that constitute a joke?
Is it one of those things that I understand this is fully not geared towards me? I get that. Dick and fart jokes, don't care about it. It's one of those that I also, another thing that needed to be improved, another F-bomb dropped in this one. It was bleeped out. There's no need for it. It doesn't move the story. It doesn't need to be there. It is gratuitous just to show, hey, we can be edgy. Again, let me know, am I all wet in this? And I am more than willing to accept that. I would rather watch old episodes of the original series than watch Lower Decks. And for those of you who know my fandom, I am not a huge fan of most of the episodes of Star Trek the original series. But again, let me know down in the comments what you think. If you do have any other comments or questions, feel free to email me at rocksolidmail@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter at rocksolidstudios, Facebook at facebook.com/rocksolidproductions, and Instagram at instagram.com/rocksolidproductionsgk. Now, if you do want to help support the future of Rock Solid Productions and get early access to our content and a whole lot more, you can do so in a couple of different ways. First and foremost, head on over to our Teespring store on screen right now, where we have t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, masks, we have coffee cups, we have cell phone cases, and a lot of cool things, all featuring the Rock Solid Productions logo. And the nice thing there is you get to rock some cool swag and support the channel. You can also head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/rocksolid. For as little as $1 a month, $12 a year, you get early access to all of our video content, exclusive content, and a whole lot more. And you can also become a channel member here on YouTube too, where you get all the exact same benefits and features, plus cool little badges for when you comment on a video or a post, or when we are in a live stream too. Now, if you like this 5 things that we liked about an episode, 5 things that we think should be improved, head on over to the Anti-Trekkers channel, because I did the same thing with episodes 3 through 10 of Star Trek Picard. I'll have a link to that down below in a pinned post where you can check him and that out. And finally, like I mentioned at the top of this video, if you like what you see here, if you want to see more, do me a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and more important than ever, hit that bell notification. That way each and every time we do upload new content, you are kept the most up to date. I really hope episode 3 changes things around, because I don't know how I'm going to make it through 10 episodes of this, because it is so cringe-worthy and terrible. It feels like Star Trek as far as the looks and the designs, but as far as the story and everything, it's terrible, at least for me at this point. My name is Gary, and this has been Rock Solid Productions, and our look at 5 things we thought rocked, 5 things we thought that needed to be improved about Star Trek Lower Decks Season 1, Episode 2, episode Envoys. I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.